Hello?
Hey, Paul, it's Rob.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you this evening?
Good. Thank you so much for calling.
It's my pleasure. Good to speak with you.
Great, great. So we'll just get right to it then.
Yeah, we've got about 15 minutes or so.
Oh, great. Perfect. So I just heard the single, Mower.
Which one? Oh, the Mower? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you do a lot of songs now, so it seems like you have a lot of projects going on. So
yeah, I got lots going on this year, yeah.
So you're currently working on a new solo project?
Yeah, Halford 4, which is slated for release in October. And the Mower's going to be on it, and we're going to drop another track within the next few days, probably called Made of Metal.
Awesome. So
we're just kind of, ramping up the interest, and I'm excited. It's just a real nice opportunity while Priest is having a bit of a downtime this year before we roll back in 2011. Just nice to be able to reconnect with some of the solo stuff,
Yeah. Well, is it similar in style to Resurrection and going in that direction, or is it?
No, it's kind of unusual, really, Paul. It's just a bit of mix of everything, I mean, I suppose really, where I am in my life, in my musical career and everything else, I've done so much, and I've covered so much territory. I think this is just me enjoying myself, and I mean it's a little bit of everything. Some of it's kind of surprising, but some of it's what you would expect from me. I suppose I'm at the stage now where it's nice to be a musician. I don't really have anything left to prove, if there is anything to prove. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you start off, you've got an agenda and you've got a plan and everything, and I've had such a wonderful career that I'm just enjoying myself. So this record goes from some really early blues ideas, right up to the kind of extreme moments on the Mower and everything in between.
Right. Well, I noticed that there's definitely some screaming moments. So which was why I asked if it was going to be a little more like Resurrection, but
yeah, I think again, I'm just using all the options that are still available on my voice, and I can still get to those registers, and I think that's what the fans would like to hear me do, and I also enjoy that challenge of trying to give that kind of vocal performance. So that's just one example of the different voices that I'm going to use on this new release.
Right. So are we going to be hearing much of the new stuff at Ozzfest?
I don't know. Probably not. I think that what we're going to do is we'll probably play one, maybe possibly two, of the new tracks. But I just want to take the opportunity just to reconnect with the fans again and play them material that they're generally familiar with, rather than kind of, what it's like when you play fans a new song. They tend to just stop what they're doing and kind of look and listen, which is nice, but I mean, really, I just want people to be jumping about and screaming and moshing and doing whatever else they want to be doing,
Right.
But, we'll probably give a little taste.
Right. So getting back to the material that you will be featuring then, so are you going to be featuring some of the old stuff? Does that material include like bands that you had formed with, like Fight or Two?
Yeah, probably a couple of Fight songs, yeah. Mostly material from Resurrection and Crucible.
Okay.
And maybe one or two Priest songs, but I mean, there really isn't a reason for me to do Priest in Halford because I'm back in Priest now,
right.
And I think the fans understand that. But there's probably an opportunity here and there to pull out a song that's probably not that well known, rather than the obvious ones. Right. I really want to really hope that the fans will warm to what this band can offer as a complete, completely original group. The Halford band has its own music and its own sound and appearance, and I think that's what we're hoping to kind of re-establish.
Great. So let's talk about your relationship with Ozzy Osbourne and ultimately why you chose to do Ozzfest this year.
Well, I've known Ozzy forever, of course. I mean, you know, obviously coming from the same part of the UK, we've literally run parallel careers to some extent. And he's a good friend of mine, and well, I mean, I think everything that's been said about Ozzy has been said. What I'm really happy for Ozzy right now is the fact that he's again, you know, made his mark as a metal singer, because Ozzy has a unique voice. Nobody else sounds like Ozzy Osbourne. And he's got a great new single out and a new record, and it's important for all of us, you know, to have new material. Right. And I suppose, much like myself, I could live on my past glories, and so could Ozzy. But that's not what it's about. You're as good as your last, effort, you know. So it's great to see him come out with this Scream album after the success of Black Rain, and. So there you are, and I just put my name up, you know, like everybody else did for the Ozzfest, and I was really delighted when Sharon and Ozzy gave me the thumbs up and said, "Yeah, come out and join us." So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting and again a very you know, multi-dimensional Ozzfest with all different bands covering all different territories in metal and hard rock on the main stage and the second stage.
Right. So did you know, getting back to that relationship, was that relationship one of the reasons why you seemed to be the go-to guy when it came to, you know, Black Sabbath needing a fill-in? Was that a recommendation by Ozzy Osbourne, or was that a previous relationship established with them separately?
Well, you know, I mean, it's just that thing that I think anybody does with friends. I mean, you look out for each other, don't you? I mean, you over here, you say you watch each other's back, and I think that's the way it is. You know, he's a mate of mine, as we say in the UK, and on those instances where I've been asked to step forward, I've been more than happy to do that, because that's what friends do for each other.
Right. Well, you've had a very long career and very successful career. Yeah. You know, and you know, you're considered an icon by a lot of people who, you know, really just love this music. So, when you look over your career, what's probably the most surprising thing that you can think of looking back?
I think I don't think there's been that many surprises, because it hasn't been a career that's been kind of, you know, not like a 4th of July thing launching up and exploding and fizzling out. It's been a very kind of slow and steady progressive development over the past almost 4 decades. And I think if you can have that kind of opportunity, rather than suddenly, you know, being thrown in at the deep end, so to speak, I think you enjoy it more somehow. You just become more adept to dealing with things as they come into your life, you know, as you go from a club to a small theatre, to a bigger theatre, to, you know, a bigger, massive venue, to an outdoor tour, whatever it might be. So I don't, in all honesty, I don't think there have been any real major surprises to really consider as I'm talking to you now. Of course, probably when I put the phone down, I'll think of something. Right. But I'm glad really that personally I don't like surprises. I'm not very keen on that. You know, I'm a bit of a planner as far as those types of things go. I don't really like the unexpected to a certain extent. I can deal with it, but it's just my nature. I like to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it, and all, you know, connect the dots type of thing.
So very much a man.
The way I am.
Very much a man routine.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that probably sounds bizarre for somebody in rock and roll, because, you know, a lot of it's chaotic. But I suppose that's just internally, I'm more comfortable if I'm prepared. Right. Put it that way.
Well, how have things changed then over the years? I mean, I've had a chance to talk to quite a few bands that have been around for 10 years or less or something like that, and they're kind of watching the landscape of music, and that kind of includes the new media.
Yeah.
With a very curious eye. I mean, no one seems to be very sure about what to make of the changes, in the age of iTunes and
yes,
YouTube.
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's totally different. I mean, will there? I mean, look. If you sell 500,000 units now, it's considered a massive success. In the 80s, people were dropping double platinum, triple platinum, quadruple platinum releases.
Right.
And that's just the advent of what the internet has done, with all the illegal pirating that's going on now.
Right.
You really can't make. I mean, just talking on a business level, because that's what I do with my other ventures. You can't make money on records now. I mean, you only make your money from touring. Bowie said that in 1998. He had a premonition that, once the internet was underway, he said within 10 years, bands will not be making cash from records anymore. It'll all be from live shows, and that's pretty much the way it's turned out to be. Right. But as far as and you need that, I'm bringing that into the equation because any band needs economic sustenance, otherwise you're just struggling.
Sure.
And so, where is the next great massive monster metal band going to come from? Where is the for example, where's the next Metallica?
Right.
I mean, I don't know of one on the horizon. I mean, where are the next giant bands? I hope there will be one because I think it's exciting.
Right.
But I think we seem to be at a place now where everybody has a chance, but everybody reaches a plateau, and then it doesn't really go much further than that. Right. Which is just the way it is. Right. I mean, just in that short 20 years isn't a very long time in music, but in 20 years, I mean, we've seen the whole world of music turn upside down.
Right, massively.
So it's really difficult now, particularly for new talent, to get a foot in the door and be recognised. Right. We did a competition for the opening act at the San Francisco show the other day, and I looked at 160 MySpace pages for bands that kind of said, give us a chance. It was very interesting. I looked at bands from all over the country. And it was a real eye-opener for me because I haven't done that for a while. I didn't have a chance before. And it was just interesting to see the broad scope and depth of all the different kind of metal and hard rock acts that are just from those 160 MySpace pages. And how many MySpace pages are there now? Millions and millions.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of bands. Right. More than ever, it's like trying to find a diamond in a coal mine,
Yeah.
I mean, they are there, but it takes a longer way of finding it, and equally, again, keeping a band in a growth pattern. That's what we had in Priest and Sabbath. Your label supported you through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many releases, full vinyl releases it took to get you established.
Right.
Nowadays, if you don't hit the demographic in the first release, it's like next, who's the next in line? And that's a shame because the musicians don't get a chance to develop their musicianship.
Right.
It's like any profession, the more you're in your profession, the better you should become, and it's difficult for musicians now.
Well, absolutely. And you mentioned that there wasn't much that you hadn't done yet. But what I did notice was that, for the first time, you and Priest released a concept album.
Yes.
Which, as a fan of the genre itself of metal and stuff, your voice and your band's style seem to. For years, I always, kind of thought it was very, a heavy metal opera sound, and it was surprised that you guys didn't do that sooner. What was the reason why you decided to do it now versus earlier in your career?
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, I suppose, firstly, you can do a concept record about anything, really, off the top of your head, you can just run to hundreds of different opportunities. it was our manager, Bill Kerbishley, that suggested Nostradamus, and that was just a brilliant choice. You know, Bill was very successful with the Tommy Rock Opera that Pete Townsend put together. He's a very savvy man when he comes to those types of opportunities. So really that's it. And the fact that, you know, we knew that if we were going to do something like that, it wasn't going to be a quick in and out the studio. It was going to take a long time to create, and it was almost a 2-year project, spaced out of 2 years, you know, because you can't rush something like that.
Right.
But it turned out really well, you know. I mean, I don't know whether you've had a chance to listen to the whole thing, but it's just a fantastic journey, trip, fantasy, whatever you want to call it, you know. It's great. It is like going to the movies or going to a Broadway show. Especially if you put headphones on and close your eyes and just shut the world off for an hour and 20-30 minutes. It's just a wonderful piece of escapism, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought that was the brilliant part of it. And so my other question is, you know, like Tommy, have you guys considered taking that to the next level and maybe creating a stage show around that concept?
I think we'd love to, we'd love to. But again, multiple opportunities. We're looking right now, actually, to see what we can do. And I don't know. Might be in a year or two, might be in 5 years, might be in 10 years. You just don't know with something like this. Right. It took Tommy how long before it went on stage? Tommy took the Tommy thing for years and years and years. Didn't
yeah, absolutely. I think it was around 20 years as well.
Yeah, well, I've that long because I'll be clocking into 80 years of age. Right. You know, I wonder if I'll be an 80-year-old metalhead. I would love to see Nostradamus on stage when I'm 80. That'll be an absolute trip. But anyway, yes, because that was in our mind when Glenn and KK and myself were writing it. We were thinking as we were writing, oh, this is going to be great if we do this scene with that scene and this effect and that effect. So it kind of went hand in hand right from the beginning of the project.
Well, so let's change gears a little bit and talk a little bit about the passing of Ronnie James Dio and your relationship with him. Do you think that we, as an audience and you know, as an audience of the music itself, completely get what his legacy is yet?
Probably not now, because unfortunately it takes something as terrible and as tragic as this for people to really kind of get the full understanding of what he accomplished as a musician and the footprint, you know, the vocal footprint that he left in rock and roll and metal. And I think, unfortunately, that's the way it is for a lot of rock and roll people that we've lost over the decades. But you know, again, you just have to kind of celebrate through the sadness, if there is such a thing. And when I hear Ronnie now, I mean, I probably listen to Ronnie more completely now than I did before, for just the psychological, emotional reasons. And his voice is absolutely fucking unbelievable.
Right.
You know, again, Ronnie James Dio, it's instantly recognisable. His style, you know, just his intensity, his subtleties. Very, very real, a great real rock and roller. You know, no airs and graces, just dead straightforward, easygoing, always asking how you were doing, never about himself, never saying, look at me, what I've done. There's nothing about that with Ronnie. He's a very selfless person. So, yeah, to lose him, you know, you lose a dear friend and you lose a musician, a live performing musician, but thankfully we've got the music and the you know, the visuals to keep us connected that way.
Right. Okay, I have a couple of fan questions.
Okay.
One of them was, are you planning to ever revisit a fight in the future, or one of those past projects? You feel like they've kind of run their course? I never say never. I mean, the first fight record was more important to me than the second one for a lot of different reasons. I think the first fight record had
an intensity about it and an attitude about it that kind of shifted gear when the second one came along. So if I did do another one, I think I would like to try and reinvestigate that feeling that I feel from the first one, from War of Words. And I never say never, Pat. You know, I never say never. I never say no to anything because that's what life is about. Why shut the door before you've walked? You know, opened it and walked through it. Walk through, see what's on the other side.
Right. So the second question is, you ever going to write an autobiography?
It's in the works. Yeah, I was in New York recently and had a meeting with a few people. Again, you got to get it right, haven't you? It's a one-time event. I mean, I don't want to. Well, I mean, it's too. I was going to say I don't want to be one of these, you know, people that run out and just scrape it all together. I mean, I've got 40 years worth of stuff in my head, you know.
Right.
That I think it's just inevitable that it's got to come out at some point because that's what we do, isn't it?
Right.
So again, as and when the time is right, it'll be something I shall enjoy. Right. But it would have to be everything, you know. It would have to be as raw and as open as the Dirt Bike Crew, or you know, Guns N' Roses, or Hammer of the Gods. It would have to be one of those things. Right. I mean, I would probably really expose things that are you know, personal to me that people don't know about. And otherwise, it doesn't really have any. You see, I think those books have to do that. Otherwise, what's the point? They're just a rehash of all the interviews you've done.
Sure, you would, and that's stuff that we could find anywhere.
Yeah, really exactly. You know, it's important to do that. Otherwise, what's the point? Because again, it's a commercial venture. You know. Right. But you have to really say, do you want to really bare your soul? You know, I mean, right. It's a big thing to do, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to live a public life on stages and chat like we're chatting, but it's another thing to kind of disclose other, you know, really probably very private things that have happened to you. So again, you know, I think it's inevitable, but I just don't know when it's going to happen.
Right. Okay. Last question,
okay.
And that is, what is the secret, do you think, to longevity in the business? Where, you know, the relevance, as we were just talking about, in the metal world especially, is rapidly becoming more and more of like a disposable. You know? Yeah,
you've really got to you've got to be addicted to it. Yeah. You've really got to be addicted to it, you know. And you know, you look at a band like Anvil. There's the addiction. Mm-hmm. You know, you just can't let it go. You can't shut it off. It doesn't matter whether you sell 100 records or 100 million records. That's got nothing to do with it. It's the commitment. You know, why are you doing it? You know, you ain't doing it for the cash or the Rolls Royce or whatever. Right. You're doing it because you've got to do it. You know, it's like why did Picasso paint, or why did, you know, Michelangelo do sculpt or whatever? You can't stop yourself. You're driven to create that kind of thing. And that either stays with you, you know, or it fizzles out, or whatever. So you really have no control over it. I mean, if you have no control out of it, then I think the best things can generally happen from those types of internal feelings.
Right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us, and we look forward to seeing you at the fest.
See you there.
All right. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.